Are you thinking about finding a new home? You already know how frustrating the whole traditional process can be, right? But what if there was another way? A path that's a little less traveled but could lead you straight to your new front door? Okay, let's dive into this and explore a really unique approach to making that happen. So, this is the big question, isn't it? How can you actually find your new home, especially when the usual options just aren't cutting it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down two really clear alternative paths that could get you there. Here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with the big picture, then jump into the two main paths, what we're calling the curated list and the proactive search. After that, we'll talk about the art of making the deal happen and finish up with the win-win-win philosophy that holds it all together. All right, let's start at the beginning. Before we get into the two specific paths, it's really important to understand the fresh approach that makes this whole thing possible in the first place. At the very heart of this system is a central connector. Think of a specialist, someone like Kevin Young Sr., who's basically a matchmaker. On one hand, he's always talking to people who need to sell their homes, and on the other, he has this network of what are called registered buyers. His whole job is to bring those two groups together. So, how does that connection actually work? Let's take a look at our first option, which is Path 1, the curated list. This is kind of the we find it for you approach, and honestly, it's built on a super powerful financial tool. And that tool is called seller financing. So, what in the world is that? Well, to put it simply, instead of you going to a bank for a mortgage, the person who's selling the house is the one who provides the loan directly to you, the buyer. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities, believe me. The process for this curated list is incredibly direct. It's really just 3 steps. First, homeowners who are looking to sell get in touch. Next, the team checks out those properties and works out specific seller financing deals for the best ones. And finally, that exclusive list of homes gets sent directly to the registered buyers. Simple as that. Now, you might be wondering, why would a seller ever agree to this? Well, their reasons are all over the map. Some people need to sell fast because of a life change. Others might not be able to sell the traditional way. The point is, every seller has their own story, and our goal is just to solve whatever problem they're facing, which in turn creates a pretty amazing opportunity for you. Okay, but what if the homes on that curated list aren't quite what you're looking for? No problem. That brings us to path number 2, the proactive search. This is where you get to take the wheel. This path is absolutely perfect if you've got your heart set on a very specific neighborhood, or maybe you just want to cast a wider net than the weekly list. It puts the power of the search squarely in your hands. And this process is also just 3 simple steps. First, you're the scout. You go out and find a handful of properties that you really like. Second, you just send over the addresses. And from there, we get to work, contacting the owners to try and negotiate a seller finance deal that really works for you. So where do you even find these places? Literally everywhere. Look for those for sale by owner signs, check out for rent listings. You'd be surprised how many landlords are ready to sell, or just browse online and in the local paper. The potential is massive. Okay, so we've covered 2 very distinct paths to a new home. Now, let's put them side by side to really see the differences and figure out how you can win with either one. This little chart breaks down the choice perfectly. With the curated list, we find the properties and the financing is already figured out. With the proactive search, you find the properties and then we step in to negotiate the financing. So one is about receiving opportunities and the other is about creating them yourself. But here's the most important thing to remember. It really doesn't matter which path you choose. The fundamental goal is always the same, to structure a deal to buy a home that is tailored specifically to your situation and what you need. And this brings us to our final section, which is all about the core philosophy, the why behind this whole approach. Because it's not just about the transaction, it's about how the deal gets made. This quote from Kevin Young Sr. just says it all, doesn't it? The guiding principle here isn't about trying to get one over on somebody. It's about finding solutions where everybody comes out ahead, because that's not just good ethics, it's just plain good business. It all boils down to this win-win-win idea. First, the seller wins. They solve their problem and they sell their house. Second, the facilitator, that's us, we win by putting together a helpful deal. And most importantly, you, the buyer, you win. You get the keys to a new home with terms that actually work for you. So there you have it. You now understand 2 powerful, different ways you can find your new home. either by getting a curated list of properties sent right to you, or by taking the lead and finding one yourself. So as we wrap things up here, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Based on what you need, your timeline, and how much you enjoy the hunt, which path feels like the right one for you? The choice is all yours.